It's been 6 years since I last came back to this game to cover the GBA exclusive content that was included in the PC/iOS port that featured 1080p art, 60fps, redone graphics, 3D map buildings, but it was frowned upon for not having the usual battle menus and a bad filter on sprite graphics, both of which I covered wasn't a big issue. It had achievements, Steam trading cards, but most importantly, a combination of features from all previous versions. This is the Final Fantasy VI via the Pixel Remaster. This is a complete remake with the idea of how would Final Fantasy VI for Super Nintendo would be if it was made with modern hardware, instead of making the definitive version with all additional content like before. And immediately, a new rearranged OST is here. We'll get into the biggest change involving this as well soon. But this is the Pixel Remaster changes, in comparison to mostly the original SNES/PS1 re-releases, but would also compare to the GBA version or lack thereof. I'll also be structuring what I talk about in order to match our PC/iOS changes video for easier comparison and consistency as much as possible. First off, while I once again sit on the save menu so it doesn't go back to the opening cutscene, you can see that a classic text option for the font is available. There is a PC Arial font available by default, but why would you want that? As you will see in battle later, I will have that font as the damage numbers are still pixelated so you can see the difference. However, unlike all other versions, you only get the classic blue window style that you see here instead of several designs. As you know, from the Super Nintendo to the iOS PC remake, I'd like to have the grey design for all the World of Ruin because it visually fits. But to be consistent with all of the Pixel remasters from 1 through to 6, you just get the classic blue windows. A clear downgrade, but at least the font matches. This is an immediate change I wanted to bring up, as you couldn't change the font in the iOS/PC remake in-game, and would have had to get technical and mod it in. Again, being on modern hardware, we have achievements unless you're on a Nintendo Switch release, and there are 37 achievements in total, and that includes the PlayStation Network's Platinum. That is 9 more for the PC/iOS version, which was also on Steam, but is no longer available for purchase since the Pixel Remaster was released, but if you have it you can still re-download and play it. And yet we do have both the Pixel Remaster and the 3DS remake of both Final Fantasy 3 and 4, but not the After Years, which was a PSP release. So why remove the options for Final Fantasy VI? I don't get it. Despite not including any of the extra GBA exclusive content, 9 more achievements means some achievements are similar while others are either quite different or no longer exist, or they've been split into multiple steps or parts to get the same result. Let's cover this first since we are already here. There is no customer appreciation achievement. Imagine only getting an achievement for just buying the game before booting it up even once. You get it upon boot up, but effectively you need to own the game in order to get it. And I've painstakingly aligned both achievement lists side by side to show how similar each achievement is, and I'll show you what we would have earned via my replay through the Pixel Remaster to once again replicate our file, even though it's not exact. The iOS/PC remake achievements are coloured red to match the game's logo colour, while the Pixel Remaster achievements are coloured blue to match the Pixel Remaster's classic blue window design. I've also put them in World of Balance story order for easy tracking, as mostly unavoidable ones leading up to the airship in the World of Ruin, where then the rest of the character-related achievements will then follow, ending with the extras, followed by achievements assigned to the GBA exclusive content after any achievements related to Kefka's Tower, being the final dungeon and boss fight in all versions. And as you may notice, there are no iOS/PC achievements for the World of Balance story events, making achievement earning more World of Ruin focused in that version. But if you're playing either version, most likely you'll get a majority of them achievements just going through. And since I mentioned level grinding, which now has an achievement for reaching level 50 with all 14 characters, it's worth mentioning that all of the SNES/PS1 bugs being once again fixed, because why would they persist? No Vanished Doom for grinding purposes. However, we have built-in cheats called boosts. You can turn off encounters without needing Mog and the Moogle Charm at any time, making for good force-only encounter runs, or just not being bothered by random encounters constantly. You can either turn off, half, double, or quadruple your experience, money, and magic point gains, which can either significantly reduce time spent grinding, or allow for a harder difficulty whenever you want, or challenge runs like no money, learned magic, or experience. And that also means no stat boosts from Magicite, because you need to level up while having them equipped in order to gain them. This not only makes the game more accessible, but it also allows for even more replayability than before, and this stacks. If a character is equipped with the Growth Egg and earns any experience, it is doubled on top of the currently set multiplier. so one character can potentially gain up to 8 times more experience than normal, while the rest gain 4 times more than the default. It's insane. Unfortunately, there is no Dragon Den or Soul Shrine, so your mileage on learning every spell and being uber powerful may differ. Also, there is no launcher this time, you just boot up the game. This does mean that there is no instruction manual or PDF, however the controls are similar to what they would be on the Super Nintendo or PS1, depending on the controller you're using, Nintendo, Sony, Microsoft, or a generic PC gamepad. And when this launched, Steam's Big Picture mode, or aka Gaming mode, which is used primarily for the Steam Deck's UI, displays the current controller with the current bindings displayed. You can also rebind in-game, so control should not be an issue, but compared to previous versions like before, akin to a PlayStation controller where Microsoft's Y or Nintendo's X is equivalent to Sony's triangle button to bring up the pause menu. Since I was playing this mostly on my Steam Deck, I haven't tried the keyboard controls, but I assume they're not as crap as the default on the iOS or PC version. Now, last time I compared all versions of the iOS/PC version and explaining why it's basically a fusion of all the best aspects of the previous versions, effectively making it, in my opinion, the definitive version that Square Enix have now removed off of every storefront for purchase in favour of the new Pixel Remaster. With my old image, the iOS/PC version had 1. The original Super Nintendo soundtrack, 2. The PS1's bestiary and default control layout, as seen on the launcher, 3. The GBA's exclusive content, being the 4 Magicite and 2 additional dungeons, the Soul Shrine and Dragon Den, and 4. The newly added HD graphics, achievements and album that were first introduced in said version. And all these versions are in some form portable. Any iPhone for the iOS version, PC now has a Steam Deck, which are both games the Pixel Remaster and the iOS PC version are compatible on, and the GBA is already a portable, and the PS1, as a PlayStation Network download, can be played on the PSP or Vita. The Super Nintendo not really, but wasn't the whole point of the Game Boy Advance version to make it portable? The only drawbacks were not including any additional bonus menus from the PlayStation 1 version, like the Colosseum Index, or many of the exclusive FMV cutscenes that still remain exclusive to the PlayStation version this very day. Taking all of this into account, what does the Pixel Remaster do? Well, 1. It has the original SNES soundtrack as an option from the new rearranged orchestral soundtrack found in the configuration menu. 2. The PS1 introduced the bestiary the first time, of which it has, but this version also has an updated art gallery, but not including any of the old 3D renders from the PlayStation 1's FMVs. 3. Nothing from the GBA port was kept other than the updated translation, first seen in the GBA version. And 4. Newly added pixel graphics that are not the same as the ones from the iOS version, has different achievements as well in comparison, no album, but instead a music player. Well, the iOS version did have a music player in its configuration menu, but this time it's in the extras on the title screen. As I mentioned before, the Pixel Remaster is basically a remastered version of the Super Nintendo version, while the GBA remake is a remake of the Super Nintendo version, meaning that the iOS/PC remake is actually a GBA remaster. It sounds confusing, I know, but because the GBA content isn't included in the Pixel Remaster, it is a Pixel Remaster of the Super Nintendo version. The Game Boy Advance remake is a remake of the Super Nintendo version in particular, and the iOS PC remake is based off of the GBA version. It's like how many versions of Rayman 2 there are, it's ridiculous. DS is based off of the N64 version, the 3DS version is based off the Dreamcast version, like, just re-release the game in its definitive form already, stop being awkward about it. As the GBA exclusive content is completely absent from the Pixel Remaster, I am torn between what my preferred version is. Also, I liked the album feature, which is absent here, as it helps you to remember what you have done and what you have left to do if you returned from a prolonged break and have forgotten what you were doing. Of course, any graphics from the iOS/PC version are omitted, as obviously it's a Pixel Remaster, they wanted to remaster the graphics again, and the only concept of having achievements from that version was kept, but they changed the achievements. Also, this time we have 20 save files. I just overflowed. But you notice once again that we have a star with this save with only Setsa. Just like in the iOS/PC version that we've covered before, this is clear save data. But unlike before with everything earned during the battle with Kefka and his Tower of Gods is kept, you don't save what you've actually earned, but all segments of Kefka and his Tower of Gods is added to the bestiary. but all details are blank for some reason. Despite not casting Libra on the Warring Triad, their details are in fact filled, and since there's nothing else to do after defeating Kefka like you can in the GBA or the iOS PC version, what's the point of clear save data? I can only assume it's for the 100% Bestiary achievement, as again this will spawn you on the Falcon with only Setsu's airship, and mark these in your Bestiary. If I scroll up from beyond file 1 upwards, we actually have an additional 2 saves here. We get one autosave that updates every time you enter a doorway, similar to the iOS/PC remake, as we've seen during our multiple fails in the Dragon's Den, which is a GBA exclusive content dungeon, among other content which was included in the aforementioned no longer purchasable iOS/PC remake. Back to save data, we also have the PS1 memo, aka quick save, but with a bit of a retool as well as a rename. If you remember in the PS1 version, the memo save was to basically put your save data into the PlayStation 1's RAM, where you can load it up anytime as long as you don't actually turn off the system. So as long as it's running, you can technically keep your progress saved, and therefore you will not go back to the beginning of the game or to a particular checkpoint when you game over. And when you hear the word quick save, normally that means that when you load it back up, it will be gone, unless you make it again, but you can't keep reloading from the same one. It's like, I need to pause here while turning off the system and then I can come back. That's not how this works. I think it's because there's a space in between quick and save, so it's like, not a quick save, but it is still, in a way, a quick save. It's hard to explain. You can now just save anywhere in this singular save slot without any limit. Use it on a tough spot, like for example waiting for Shadow before escaping the floating continent, or before a boss without being near a save point. If it's quite a walk away and the enemies are tough, and you don't want to keep bumping into random encounters every time you try to make your way back, you can quick save literally right beforehand and then just reload when you need to. Of course, if you go through a door you have the autosave, but they could be a little bit further away. So the quick save is pretty useful. As you can see, my one's actually saved right before I fight Humbaba, after finding Terra for the first time near the start of the game before I've even got Edgar or Setzer. I made the quick save here because I had to keep going through the cutscene where Dwayne and Madeline were talking about how Terra is needed for the children because she keeps them happy. But I didn't want to keep going through that cutscene every time while I was struggling with Humbaba, so I quick saved literally after I talked to her before I left the building, because as you go straight into a battle, it can't autosave because I'm not in exploration. That was a good use of quick save. Otherwise, the autosave would have been before that cutscene, and I would have had to go through that text every time. Obviously, that's not where it is now. My autosave's from my cleared save data because I access my menus, but there you go. So now I'm going to actually load up my clear save because, well, since there's nothing actually for me to show off that I haven't already other than the differences in the achievements, since you'll be seeing the menus and graphics when I cover the biggest change that I've yet to mention, I won't mention that for now, but just to clarify in comparison to how the Pixel Remaster works, the engine, this is all running natively. It's not emulated with additions later on top, like the iOS PC version is basically a glorified emulator for the Game Boy Advance version and changing things. This Pixel Remaster engine is developed in Cryware. You'll notice that all 6 Pixel Remasters have the exact same style and menu layouts. Like the pause menu here, they'll look the same throughout every game, with minor changes to accommodate each game and character's unique features. Like for example in this game that'll be abilities, and we have our Magic and Espers, once again all rolled into a single menu. You'll see how this all works later. Now let's focus on gameplay for just a moment. When flying, or during gameplay in general, when you're able to explore, even if you're in a dungeon or on the world map, if you were to press the left face button, which in this case is square, PC's X or Nintendo's Y button, you can access an actual map screen with both a chest and an item tracker for every location that you can view in the current world that you're in, so that means anything world of balance is basically permanently missable. It's great for those who want to 100% this game proper, especially since you have achievements that track not only bestiary but also chests and hidden items. Also, when flying around in the world of Ruin, I have a clip on physically seeing a ball of darkness straight out of Kingdom Hearts. This is the Death Gaze / Doom Gaze in physical form. No more aimlessly flying around hoping that you'll randomly bump into him. You can see that he's looming for easier engagement. The only issue is, like before, if you land or go to the airship in order to prepare or change your team, go shopping, what have you, he will move. But that is very minor considering that you'll be looking for him anyway once you are prepared. So it's a lot easier to spot him instead of just randomly encountering him. You've got a visual representation of where he is. Since we're in our file, we can access the bestiary directly through the configuration menu for some reason. You can't configure anything in the bestiary, so it's a bit odd choice as to why it's here, but it works like you'd expect. There's nothing much new here. As I've said before, there's boost. You've also got the option to change your music, as I've said here, and it will change on the fly as soon as you switch it. Same with the font. For other music options, you can rebalance everything you really need to, including brightness. But yeah, I'm just scrolling through, and you can see that there is no options to change the window. You don't even get the chocobo border, which I think is heresy. Now, you may have noticed that there is a graphics display option. Now, you might be thinking, oh, can I make the menus back to how they used to be? Maybe I'll have the options then. All it does is add scan lines. That's literally the only option. Classic is scan lines, standard is no scan lines, and, you know, that's something I don't like having when I'm playing the games. But that's just a personal choice. And that's basically it. There's no need for me to show, like, the before and after of, you know, PlayStation 1 before Kefka to my stats now on this version, because there's no more content for me to cover. There's no point looking at my stats. My characters are basically doing nothing for the rest of this video. At this point in time, that is basically all the main changes that the Pixel Remaster has to offer, except for one particular part of the game that I recorded ahead of time on this file here. Yep, file 1, all the way back in the World of Balance, with Celeste right there. You can see how early that is with the level. That I had recorded ahead of time when I discovered it. Ironically, I didn't look anything up about the Pixel Remaster when it was announced. Well, I did a bit, but I stopped after the initial announcement, so I wasn't spoiled of any particular changes or new content or bonuses that were in. So it was a surprise to me when I discovered what we're about to see. And despite that this version is supposed to be a Super Nintendo version, if it was first made in this day and age, this one massive change just makes me wish that we got a full 3D, full voice-acted version in the style, as I keep mentioning, but back then, but now it will probably be Final Fantasy VII's remake instead of Final Fantasy XIII, instead of this version. See attached. Now, when this came out, I didn't look up anything, because I'm going to play through the game again anyway. Any differences I would notice or have a look at, and we're basically going to see all that. The reason why I'm at the Opera House is because, well, it came to me as a shock, but it's probably the biggest change. So I'm just going to get through this cutscene right now, just so we can get to the actual main event. This was the earliest point I could save, but yeah. You can see that all the sprites have been redone. The movement of the screen's not smooth. I don't know how to fix that. That just seems to be a thing with this version. It was actually a lot smoother in the iOS/PC version. I'm going to continue referring to that version as such, because that particular version's not available anymore. Obviously, if you want the Super Nintendo kind of graphics, and you want the extra content, you will have to now play GBA. But in terms of this version, well, I'm going to cut past this cutscene to when we can basically go through, well, the start of this, after Ultros tosses his letter. Okay, he's tossed the letter. I only cut out about a minute of that because I was babbling along. But you know when I mentioned way back in the day that, you know, we had the N64 Tech demo, which was 3D, as well as a fan-made kind of 3D recreation of Nash? Well, just look at this. For one thing, you can see each individual sprite of the audience now, so it's not just a static image there, although the conductor doesn't look as crazy. The Opera House is the biggest change, and this makes me want a 3D remake with full voice acting, even more than before, and it kind of annoys me that they didn't go all the way with it and just made it a Pixel Remaster, instead of going by the way of Final Fantasies 3 and 4. Even if they would be chibi style, I would have still liked it in like Final Fantasy 13 style at the time. Now, I'm not going to read any of this text, because it's the same text with the GBA translation onwards, but the Pixel Remasters were supposed to be if the originals were made today, which means none of the extra content. That means Final Fantasy 1 Pixel Remaster, which I'm not going to bother showing the changes of, because I played a version that didn't even have the Magic Point system. And that version is obviously based on the original, which has the Magic Point system, and not, or Spell Cast system, excuse me, and not the MP system that, for example, this game has, that we already know. You have a pool of magic, you spend magic, you cast a spell. You don't have, like, oh, I can only cast, like, 3 level 1 spells, for example. But I'm just going to be quiet now and listen to what blew my mind and why I had to stop playing up to this point to record this for you guys. Because, again, I didn't look it up, and it shocked me. Actual voice acting. Like, proper vocals to it. Like, why is that the only point in this game that was fully voice acted? And that's when I had to stop recording, because I don't know if the rest of this is going to be changed, but this is immediately the biggest change. Who cares about the visuals? The previous version had different visuals. What? So, I'm going to cut until we get into the actual opera with Celeste, and we'll continue from there. Okay. We've studied up. Now let's see this. I know that it was 3D, but apparently this is fully sung. And yes, we had like a Latin reorchestrated version. Wow, look at that. I remember seeing that. But I stopped watching trailers after that, because I was like, whoa, okay. But yeah. If this actually gives English lyrics to Celeste, that means both Terra, through Dissidia, and Celeste have official voice acting. And I'm like, 3D game!
Oh, my hero, my beloved, shall we still be made to part? Though promises of perennial love yet sing here in my heart. I'm the darkness, you're the starlight, shining brightly from afar. Through hours of despair, I offer this prayer to you, my evening star. Must my final vows exchanged, be with him and not with you? Were you only here to quiet my fear? Oh, speak, guide me anew.
It's different when it's not just, you know, like opera choirs, noises, or, you know, high pitches and boops with reverb. It's interesting. Oh, what's this? Oh! I don't actually need to move with him! It's automated! Do I just need to press the button? Oh, I do. Oh, okay, it's completely automated. I don't even need to run up there. It's an actual cutscene with a couple of QuickTime events, which is probably the best way to do it.
I am thankful, my beloved, for your tenderness and grace. I see in your eyes, so gentle and wise, all doubts and fears erase.
This entire scene hits differently because of that. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Yeah, and then we just go back to text with no actual dialogue. But see what I mean? It's like, why would you voice act this moment, even though it makes the most sense? You don't have it for the rest of the scene. Like, you could have had some dialogue there. You know what I mean? Like, just someone saying, the prince is waiting for you. Or something, you know? It's just... like, you went further, but then you reeled yourself way back. Because you still had to kind of, like, stick to tradition, because it's supposed to be the Pixel remasters, but you gave, like, a hint that you wanted to do, like, an actual 3D remake, because that set was 3D. I mean, most of the sets are, like, I mean, this set looks 3D, because I believe it's using, like, a variation of what Octopath Traveler uses for its engine, but most of the time it's just pseudo using Mode 7 and all that for the map. There's no 3D castles or anything like that. And now I'm just remembering, Locke has to, like, do some ad-lib right before you fight Ultros, which is what we're about to do. Does he get lines? Do we have official Locke voice acting as well now? I need to know this. Which is why we're doing this whole area, because this is the bulk of the video. All you guys want, I'm going to jam up your opera. Better tell the Impresario. Thought I'd cut out getting to the Impresario. I mispronounced that. And let's see what's going on here. But didn't even get a chance to read that. Also, they couldn't have had, like, some random person go, attack, in the background or something. You know? That wouldn't have been so much work. You get what I mean? Like, I'm happy that it does have vocals that you can understand now. I don't even know if it has different vocals depending on the language you choose.
Insolent rogue, knave of the western hall, you would address my queen to be Maria. Yes, you have Maria's hand. I would die before that day comes. Then it's a duel.
That's exactly how I thought that would go. Also, unique sprite for when Celeste was addressing Draco. I thought it was Draco. I don't know. Harry Potter, Draco, Dragon, I guess it would be that. Ah, my brain. But you also know how you pronounce things, but it's exactly how I thought he would say it. That it's a duel! Right. Does Ultro say anything in tune? No. Alright, we're gonna have to get up there really quick. And then you can see some of the visuals of the battle, because, I mean, we saw some of that because I had to do extra stuff in the PC iOS version for the GBA exclusive content that was carried over. But you're not going to see any of that unless I do stuff here now, so we're just going to push on through. So we need to go to the right. And for some reason, Cyan's up front, whatever. I need to hit the rightmost switch, as we do. Far right. You just outright... In fact, it's color-coded! Just in case you couldn't figure it out. Yeah, there's some quality of life differences in there. I mean, like, you're on a time limit, you don't want to freak people out. And plus, if you messed up the opera scene beforehand as well, that's also a bit of a boo-boo, because you only get 3 chances of that. But here, you only get the 1 chance. If Celeste gets crushed, that's it. Alright, here we go. So I guess we can cover some of the differences in combat since we're here. So the menu is back to how it used to be. But we're going to just mug. You can press square for auto. That's fire enough. But there's a bit of a difference when it comes to... Let's do Blind Blasting. Bushido. You just choose what it is, and then the ATB gauge fills up. I forget if it's like that in the iOS PC version, but I'm just mentioning. From the SNES version that this is based off of, that is a difference. Fire Blaster's not a good idea. Why did I do that? They are rats. Also, maybe I should not mug and just attack, because it's faster. I don't need to steal stuff off of these guys. I'm just going to auto crossbow. That'll do it. Attack. Bushido Fang, because it always does more damage. There we we go. Cyan kind of needs some health, so we'll deal with that really quick. We've got plenty of time. Plus, we don't have to deal with PS1 load times. Although, the load times of this version, or at least on the Steam Deck, can be a bit janky. Yeah, we don't have Celeste, and none of my characters have learnt any magic from the Espers. Then again, you don't get much of a chance to do that at the moment anyway, so I'm just going to attack. That's a lot of rats, so we'll just do that. And when you go auto, the game always chooses the stuff that you've chosen before. So, Locke will always attack, Cyan will always use the first Bushido ability, and Edgar will always use the auto crossbow, which is good for crowd control. Oh, Locke learnt sleep. Well, that's useful. And we got a high potion out of it. Maybe I should be a bit more tactical in my movements here. Would you move? Actually, they can hop over that little gap there. I just noticed that. Also, the battles move a lot faster. Wait, hang on. Does the timer go down faster? 5, 4... Yeah, the timer also goes down according to the auto-playing speed. Because it actually speeds up the battles a bit, as you can tell. But at least we're seeing some battles here. Oh, Cyan's learnt everything. Timer... Oh, good! The timer doesn't tick down when we're paused now. Useful. Okay, so... ignore me, I'm just going to cut this out because you don't need to see this. Okay, no changes need to be made, but for some reason the music kind of bugged out on the game itself, but then it came back. That wasn't my headphones, so it was a bit of a weird one there. I was about... as soon as I say that this game's not entirely 100% compatible with the Steam Deck, it has a yellow exclamation mark, but when I installed it, other than load times being a little bit long, that's the only real problem. I haven't had to do anything different, but that was the first time I had like a music bug, because desktop audio was not spiking on my recording software. And, yeah, it just went dead for a minute. Right, Locke learnt fire. Am I good now? Yep. Okay. Gonna leave my Espers the same, and I dodged the final rat because... oh, rats. Yeah, you're a funny man. Oh, this will never do with those two flattened. There's no one to win the girl. How can the story possibly continue? Locke? Are we going to get some voice acting from you, my boy? That went high. Oh! Neither Draco nor else will win Celeste's hand. As I, Locke, the world's premier adventurer, who will take her as my wife. At least someone in the audience liked that. But he didn't get a voice line! God damn it! Well, might as well make the most of this music! Because there's probably scenes after I beat this game. Oh, this sounds different. I'm gonna get him with the drill. I kinda need some help actually, so I'm gonna use a... oh, that was good usage. I need to heal Cyan. I've got no magic. Probably should have brought Sabin in now I think about it. Mug him! Oh yeah, he gets protect now because of his item that I've given him. Never mind! Dead again already. Not ideal. Should have healed him immediately after getting him up. That was a mistake. That'll do. Whoa, that was immediate! Jesus, I only clicked the button. That was literally frames after I pressed the button. And I needed that as well. Wow. Okay. problem is I've got no one with cure. Oh, oops. No, I need items. Give it to you. Oh, Cyan still needs it. Yeah, he's ignoring Edgar completely. Ink. Oh, that's great, isn't it? He countered, though. Wait, Pseudo doesn't get affected by being blinded, does he? Oh! Hey! Get back here, you! But what does that even do, honestly? Does that just put him closer to the left side so they take more damage or something? Okay, he must be getting weak because he's just doing it constantly. I haven't got much to say here, I'm just going through the motions. Although Cyan definitely needs more healing again. Oh, wait, nope. Wait, what have I got confused? I could do that. But you're getting basically to see all the changes of the graphics here. I think Edgar can still use his tools. I mean, he's got a decent weapon, so I might just be able to attack with him normally. Yeah, I'll just do that. Forget his attacks. Get neutered. I do have a golden... No, it's not a golden needle. Green cherry. Here we go. Yeah, that's like immediate when you use an item. So much more snappy. Drill? Can't be that... He hasn't got that much health, surely. Oh, okay. I'm using a lot of high potions, excuse me. Oh, would you not be in my face with that, please? Hit him, Cyan! Drill him. This is a drill. Would you stop using acid rain? It hits everybody and it's not ideal. Okay, that must mean he's weak. If he's getting that desperate. Right, Edgar is almost down, so give him a potion. Oh, that's not ideal. Have I got not an item that heals everybody? I don't think I have something like that. Lock, use it on yourself. Oh, I was on Cyan's turn. My bad. It's fine. You're the only one who can attack, so just drill. And we'll just be on healing duty here. That'll do. That's fine. Normal attacks we can deal with. Actually, do we not have... No, we don't. Not yet. Green cherry. This is why we have all these green cherries in our pouch. Actually, you know what? You just attack, because it doesn't really matter if you're an imp or not. Edgar's weak again. Oi. Can you just die, please? Oh, yep, there we are. We've done it. I was just about to heal Edgar. Yep, he's gone. Okay, cool. Okay. That was a little bit tough. Probably a bit under-leveled, actually. But we might have more lines here. Nope, sets the hops in like normal. And they actually use that sprite. Yeah, they remember in the iOS/PC version that they didn't use that sprite to tie her up against the wall, so she was just kind of crouched in the... Well, in the position she is in right now, just to, like, you know, represent that she was, you know, being knocked down and stuff because of, you know, changes. They re-implemented it here because it makes most sense, so the sprite doesn't go unused. And it makes sense because, you know, you're being held by someone for a second before you push down. So, yeah, they managed to still keep that sprite in after redrawing it. And by doing that, you didn't realise that she wasn't Maria. But yeah, there we are. That was the biggest change of Final Fantasy VI, the Pixel Remaster Edition. Actual vocals, for the singing parts at least, of the Opera House.